Dun dun dun. It's because I'm so scared.
Yeah.
Just want to get yourself set up.
Hi, we're Cheerios Productions. I'm Jenny.
I'm Emily.
I'm Bethany.
Hi, Mark.
Our film's called 2 Minutes of a Lady and the genre is slapstick comedy.
We think our idea is very unique and original, and we're going to play around with different sketches and ideas.
We've grabbed our inspiration from more films such as Longer Than Harder and the more modern Mr. Bean, as they have more similar styles.
We recently heard about a new film called The Artist. The Artist has received several BAFTA awards. We've also realised how alike our short film idea is to it.
We've watched the trailer to The Artist and we like how it set out to use it as inspiration.
We want our film to look like it's been set in the 20s, which was a silent era, but we're going to modernise it with modern places, but keep the same comic humour.
In the film we see a couple and a man's trying to steal a woman.
It involved romance, laughter and a hint of jealousy because of the relationship between the couple.
We put a modern twist on old films, Charlie Chaplin and Laurel and Hardy.
Our key characters are Ben, Jenny and George. Casting in films with Neil Junius, Rowan Atkinson and Lee Evans.
We chose these people as we think they would suit our characters' personalities.
The demographic age group for our film is 11 to 20 as we feel they'll know the actors.
We've chosen Mila Kunis as to play Jenny, because she has had a lot of experience in acting before, like her film Out, which is called Friends with Benefits, which is a rom-com.
She has also worked on comedy scripts such as Family Guy. She is a voice role for me. In our film, she'll play the leading character Jenny, and she's the one that everyone finds attractive and wants to know.
Our next actor is Lee Evans. We think he would be suitable for the role as Ben, as he has had acting experience and is a stand-up comedian using slapstick-like comedy.
Ben's character is geeky and down to earth, so we feel Lee Evans will fit the description.
We're going to cast Rowan Atkinson as George, as he's had a lot of experience in the same comedy slapstick style, like in his TV show Mr. Bean and his film Mr. Bean's Holiday.
George's character is well respected but can sometimes come across as a posh snob.
Steve Bendelek and Peter Shin will direct our film, and Steve Bendelek directed Mr. Bean the Holiday, and Peter Shin directs Family Guy. So they both have experience in making comedies, and we think they would fit in well with our chosen genre.
Our entire budget for the film is £30,000 and each star will receive £8,000 each.
Our costume will be inspired by Sherlock Holmes, and we'll have other props like bow ties and bowler hats, which will all link to 1920s comedy style.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, lots of it. So they, thank you, Dave. That's very clear. So you talked a lot about who's going to be in it and what the style is and the setting. What I have no idea about though is the story. So you've got two guys who both fancy Mila Kunis. That's all I know. So what's the story?
It's like two rival idiots who are trying to win this girl's heart, and they just can't do it, so they're just trying to beat each other.
How though? What are they doing to try and win?
They're trying to overwhelm her by buying loads of gifts for her and doing everything that they think that she'll love.
So is one trying to outdo the other every single time?
Yeah, everyone's trying to outdo each other.
And you obviously talked about this being slapstick comedy, so there presumably are physical jokes.
Yeah.
What such as?
Just like pretending to hate each other, like it's like a really silly thing.
Yeah, there's like lots of pretend fighting with, say for example, there's a fight in it with breadsticks, where they're hitting each other with breadsticks.
Okay.
There's a lot of falling over and stupidity in it.
But why are they falling over? Do you get the question I'm asking? I get that you've got these two guys, they fancy this girl, and they're going to fight each other to try and win her attention. What I don't know is what things they're going to do to try and get her attention. Like, how does this play out, and what's the ending? How does it? Do they win her over? Do they?
It's like clumsy humour where they'll buy a gift and like they'll trip over or something because they're really scared to be around her. And then like in the end they get so caught up in trying to fight each other that the girl ends up just getting bored and walks away.
Okay. All right. Now, how old is Mila Kunis? Roughly.
24?
How old is Leon?
Oh, he must have been in his 40s.
And Rowan Atkinson?
I wouldn't need, must be what, 60s or so on.
So there's quite a big age gap, isn't there? What do you think? Does that matter? Do you?
I was thinking about more because of the background that they're in. Like everyone knows Mr. Bean as like that style of comedy, and it doesn't look like he's aged too much. Everyone just kind of thinks of him as like, oh, when I was younger, I watched Mr. Bean and stuff. So they just think of it as that comedy style.
With reference to those two actors, has it got anything to do with? I mean, because you mentioned Leon is a comedian with acting experience. Mr. Bean keeps coming up quite a lot. Has it got more to do with those characters' physicality, that is how they move and interact, than it is about necessarily having those two people?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do you think that this could be done without those two, but influenced, if you like, by them? Is that what you mean, or?
It could do, because like the way Leo things like moves around on stage when he's just doing like his comedy pieces, he's quite clumsy anyway, and that's just his nature. So maybe like we could have someone who was like inspired by the Evans to play the role, just see if they could do it as good.
Elaborate and exaggerated movements that are all kind of planned. Okay. You mentioned about updating, having the style of the 1920s silent era. That's really come through crystal clear in terms of your influences. But putting it in a more modern setting, can you tell us a bit more about that, and not just in terms of setting, but also the reason for that modernising Becky? What do you think?
We've not really talked about what kind of setting, but we've got an idea of what we want to do.
Okay, so
Like the scenery would be like maybe a river in the background or trees and bright blue sky and stuff like that.
okay, but obviously everything's in black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you mean a more rural looking
Yeah.
setting? Right. Okay.
You mentioned your audience being a lot younger, but this style that you're going for, this 1920 style, do you not think that you could grasp an older audience as well if you go like that?
Well, I think the actors probably would like bring older people to watch it, and because of the style, maybe like families and people would want to watch it because they like bring the kids along and say like, oh, this is what I used to watch when I was younger or something.
Okay, so Mark, you mentioned something about breadstick fight. How has that come about? We're assuming you've got your first draft script. How does that breadstick fight, slapstick style?
Well, in the film, towards the end of the film, all three of them, the woman in it is with one of the idiots, and he takes her to the park. There's obviously a big river, and she wants to feed the ducks.
Okay.
So as the idiot doesn't have any bread on him, he goes to the shop to buy some. So then the idiot comes along prepared with bread, and starts to feed the ducks with her. So when he comes back, he obviously doesn't like it, so he starts hitting with the bread.
With the breadstick?
Yeah, with the breadstick. So he obviously does the same, and it ends up into some big, massive bread fight.
Thank you. Henry, is there anything else you want to ask?
No, I'm good.
I just have one last question, and that is, how are you going to ensure that this film is seen by your target audience? What are you going to do to make sure it's seen?
Well, first of all, I think the biggest thing we'll do would be to put it on Facebook and advertise it across Facebook completely.
The film in its entirety, or more of a marketing campaign?
More of a marketing campaign, give it a fan page, and just to show people that it's about, and to obviously to try and drag people in to make them want to come and watch it. I mean, like, obviously the biggest way of advertising it would be on the social networking side, and if not Facebook, Twitter or MySpace or some of the other thousands that are.
Would you not pick all of them?
But yeah, given the chance, we would put on every single one and advertise it in different ways on each.
I mean, I think it's something to think about is and explore is how a lot of these are linked together, all these different sites, and that's quite a good way of kind of webbing outwards, if you like, which is probably why they call it the World Wide Web. But a lot of sites have kind of really cottoned on to that in terms of what people are using, what's the most popular, can we link all those together. How would you use something like Twitter to promote and market your film?
Well, what we'll do is we create its own profile for people to follow, and what it'd do is it'd tweet information about the film and tweet pictures and obviously clips of the film, and it'll maybe do sort of competitions to get followers to get involved and give their own personal feedback on what they think of the film.
Would you that, because that's a really interesting idea, and I really like the idea of that kind of drip feed of information. Is that something that you would do after you've made the film, or is it something that you would do before you've made the film?
It'd be both. We'd give them the initial idea before we've made it, just to see what they think.
Or once it's in production?
Yeah, well, once it's in production, yeah. And then when it's released, we'll release it through the social networks, and then we can show their favourite clips in tweets and posts on Facebook and MySpace and so on.
Can I ask one last question?
Of course.
You mentioned two different directors. Is that because what was the logic behind that?
Because one of them had directed Family Guy, and the other one had directed Mr. Bean's holiday film.
So were you thinking they would both direct the film, or you get one or the other?
We could kind of like influence each other with like different styles, because they're like both kind of different. Like Family Guy's like a script, and then it's like cartoon characters, and then Mr. Bean's like actually working with the style and like with the actual actor.
Yeah. Do you know any examples where that's worked? Or if you've
Well,
two random directors that come together? So.
What we was thinking is, Steve Bendelek, because he directed Mr. Bean, and Mr. Bean, there's a lot of funny movements, and obviously we all know what Mr. Bean's like and what the film's like, that sort of thing. And with Peter Shin and Family Guy, a lot of the gags that I know they don't come from him, they come from Steph McFarlane.
This,
He obviously.
your film's silent, though, right?
It's silent, but in parts it has on-screen dialogue.
I mean, you've referenced the artist a lot. Is it not? Would you not think about that director?
I suppose. Yeah, that would be a good person to have in it.
Certainly seems to be an influence. Really.
Yeah, it is a major influence.
I think we probably need to look at more what sort of directors we need and not just the directors.
Yeah, and possibly you just need to think about how meaning is communicated, or situations, or emotions, more importantly. A lot of this does come down to kind of emotional communication with the lack of dialogue, do you see what I mean? So how is that done is something to think about, definitely. You know, away from the marketing and who's going to direct what and all the rest of it, is how does this differ from contemporary film? Do you see what I mean? That's just, I think, something to leave you to think about.
And in terms of the audience, so say I come to see you with Vincent, I come to see you with film. As I'm walking away with my friends or whatever, what do you think I'll be talking about, or how do you want me to feel?
if you watch it, and you feel like you want to watch it again. Like you think, oh, it's so funny. I want to watch it again. I want to tell everyone about it.
So you want people to be happy when they
Yeah.
come out. Right. Okay. Amused,
Yeah.
chuckling to themselves.
Remember bits and laugh. Yeah.
Is it just funny, or is it, is there something you're saying as well? So you want the audience to think about the world?
Well, I think with the short film, there's a lot to relate to. Because, you know, obviously when people want to get together, they tend to become extremely nervous around each other and they do things they don't necessarily want to do. So there is a lot of people can certainly relate to the film.
So are you saying if these guys were less nervous, maybe they'd have got the girl? Is that the sort of
Yeah.
It's like a real life situation, like you relate to it that way because it will happen in real life. It might be two people trying to get this one girl.
Yeah, you could have been the person who is vying for the attention of another or on the receiving end of that, is what you're saying, is that right?
Right.
Right, I'll do that. That's certainly all from me. Thanks very much. If you want to just close down your, just log off session viewer, keep it switched on. That was good. Thanks very much. We decided all is alright in the world now,
Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much guys. Very good.